Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. You ever notice how sometimes life just stops? Like you're running towards something that never seems to arrive. You pray, you plan, you dream, and yet nothing moves. The world feels frozen, like time itself is holding its breath. But listen closely, maybe it's not that your story has stopped, maybe it's just being rewritten. What if this delay isn't punishment, but protection? What if you're not being ignored, but being prepared? Because sometimes, what feels like silence is the sound of things falling into place quietly, beautifully, and right on time. So don't rush the timing that was designed to save you. Sometimes, the pause is not a delay, it's divine precision. The hardest thing about waiting isn't the time, it's the emptiness it creates. You start to question your worth, your prayers, your choices. You look around, and everyone seems to be moving forward, while you remain still lost between faith and frustration. But what if that emptiness was never empty? What if it was sacred space, a space where your strength was quietly being built? When life strips away distractions and noise, it's giving you a chance to meet yourself, to meet your patience, your resilience, your unseen faith. Because waiting isn't wasting, it's growing without anyone noticing. And one day, you'll realize that in the stillness, you became everything you were praying to be. We call it delay, but maybe it's alignment. Maybe life is simply arranging the pieces so that when your moment arrives, everything fits perfectly. If things move faster, you might reach your destination too soon before your heart, your character, and your purpose are ready. So when everything feels still, don't mistake it for nothingness. Stillness is sacred, it's life catching up to what you've been praying for. Divine timing never feels convenient. It feels frustrating, uncertain, even heavy. But that's how real transformation happens. Because growth rarely announces itself. It happens quietly, in the dark, until suddenly one day it blooms. Think about every closed door in your life. At the time, it felt unfair, like life turned its back on you, but look back now. How many of those no's saved you from pain couldn't see? That relationship that broke you, that opportunity that slipped away, that plan that crumbled right when you thought it was perfect. Each one felt like an ending, but it was a redirection. Every detour was mercy in disguise. Every disappointment was guidance you didn't recognize. So the next time something doesn't go your way, whisper to yourself, maybe this isn't rejection, maybe it's redirection. Because the delay might just be the protection you prayed for. Trust is not built when life makes sense. Trust begins when everything falls apart, when your prayers go unanswered, and your plans unravel before your eyes. That's where faith truly lives, not in knowing what's next, but in believing that Allah still does. Standing in the fog, you might not see the road ahead, but that doesn't mean it isn't there. Sometimes the fog is mercy too. It forces you to walk by faith, not sight. Patience isn't passive. It's the strength to keep believing when nothing looks certain. And that's what real trust means, holding on to the light even when you can't see it yet. Everything that grows beautifully grows slowly. The sunrise doesn't rush, the ocean doesn't hurry. Even your healing takes its own time. We've learned to chase, to rush toward everything, success, love, answers. But life has its own rhythm, and sometimes it moves slower because your soul needs time to breathe. When you force what's not ready, it breaks. When you wait with faith, it blossoms naturally. So don't fight the pace of your journey. The same way a flower opens petal by petal, your story will unfold when the season is right, not when you demand it, but when it's meant to. Sometimes you ask for a sign, and all you get is silence. And that silence can feel unbearable, like your prayers vanished into thin air. But silence isn't absence, it's attention. It's life whispering, wait, something is shifting. Silence is where clarity grows. It's the unseen workshop of divine planning, where the next chapter of your life is being designed. Don't mistake stillness for abandonment. Even when you can't hear Him, Allah is still working behind the scenes, arranging, softening, and aligning things for you. Because the silence you fear might be the space where miracles are being written. You might not understand it now, but every delay carries a message. Sometimes you lose things because they were never meant to stay. Sometimes you wait longer because what's coming is far greater than what you asked for. And sometimes you're kept waiting not as punishment, but because the version of you who can handle the blessing is still being built. The waiting is the classroom, the delay is the teacher. And when your time finally comes, you'll see it didn't come late. It came right on time. So be patient with the process, because when delay becomes destiny, it feels less like waiting and more like arriving home. When the waiting finally ends, it doesn't explode like fireworks, it arrives softly, quietly, with peace. You'll look back and realize every unanswered prayer led you right where you were meant to be. The things that didn't happen were blessings too, because they cleared the path for what truly belonged to you. You'll smile, not because everything is perfect, but because you finally understand why it all had to happen this way. You'll thank the delay, not resent it, because what took time lasted longer. What came late came stronger, and what made you wait made you wiser. So if you're in the middle of waiting, breathe. Don't lose faith. Don't curse the silence. This chapter isn't about punishment, it's about preparation. The pause is sacred. The silence is divine. The delay is intentional. You're not behind. You're exactly where you're meant to be, even if it doesn't look like it yet. One day, you'll look back and whisper, "That delay saved me." Because every delay had purpose, every pause had protection, and every unanswered prayer was simply a redirection towards something far more beautiful than you imagined.